This is an introduction to the V5 brain and using the Vex code block programming style. You'll see on the left-hand side, that is the screen, that is the brain. This is where you can see what's going on while you're doing your programming. You can tap on it, and it shows you the different programs. It can hold, so you can see that it has 8 different programs it can have. When you hit, oh, you can't see that. When I hit this button, this is the back button right here. It's the power button, but also the back button. It will back you up a step. And so you've got all that, and there's some of the most recent ones show up here. So here is the code. This is where you make your code. You'll have this when started. These are the different blocks that go in there. Up here is where you can pick the slot that you want to record it to. You want to do this at the beginning. So for example, I'm going to save this into slot 3 because slot 3 down here is where I'm just having some random things go. These other ones actually have some files I want to keep because it will overwrite it. You can also, when you save it, you then give it a name. So they can call this my test. Test program 1. And now that'll be there, and it'll actually show up down there when I download it. You can also, in here, you can also add some information. I'm trying to think where that is. But you can, so there's a lot I can do there. So this is the brain. This is where you might see something. You may have to update the firmware sometimes, and that would just download, and it'll take care of that. Here's your run and stop. And so these kind of things. So basically, so when I start my program, let's just say real basic here, I want to print something on the screen. I can just put this here. I can type in whatever it would be. It's like, hi everyone on the brain. And so I have a program now. If I click download, you can see now my program is over here. And there's a run. I can either push that button or I can do it up here. If I do that, there it is. Hi everyone, it shows up. Well, that's pretty cool. But let's say I don't want to do that. I want to put it somewhere else. Well, I can move it down a little bit. I can put that here. And I can move it to row 7 and column 14. And again, download it and run it. And you can see that it's moved. Now, you might say, well, how many rows and columns do you have? This right here, the little question mark, will help you because you're going to be on your own trying to discover this. I click the question mark, and I click on anything here. When I say set, I click on this set cursor to row, okay? It's going to show me exactly how many we got. I've got 12 rows, and I have 48 columns. So I can figure out where I am based on these numbers here. So it tells me how many rows I have and how many columns, so I know where it's going to be, so I can place it. So anytime you want to know, even just this code, see, it tells you what you want, where do you want to put it on the brain, because you can actually, there's a remote control with the screen. You could have it printed on the screen there. So there's a lot of different things, and this is really just a basic thing here. I click it and it goes away. What is this one? This one, we don't use that one, but this one is where I set it up. So that if I was going to plug in some motors, like you will be later on, we'll probably just do a 2-motor drivetrain. I can click that. I can tell it what ports I'm plugged into. Say I'm plugged in there, no gyro. And if I do these numbers, and this is a default, which works, I can say done. And what that does, look, a whole new set of commands just showed up. These are commands to work your motors, to turn right, to turn left, stop driving, set velocity. So you've got all that here. And so then when I click it, it just goes away. But if I don't know what to do with it, I can click this. I can click my drive forward here, and it'll talk about, I can do it in my units, whether I can go forward or reverse. It'll tell me everything that I can do, okay? Stopping brake. I can do, there's different things you can do here. We'll be working with that. So a lot of different things here. So let's say I want to do that, and did my drivetrain. So now let's say down here in looks, I can draw things like, well, maybe I want to draw a rectangle, and I go, well, here's 4 blanks. I don't know where that goes. Click over here and click on this, and it tells me the first number is the top left corner in the X, and the second is in the Y, then the width, and then the height. Well, that's good to know. So I can say that I want to go down 4, and I want to go over 16. No, there weren't that many, I don't think. 11, and I want to make it that size. I don't know what this is going to look like. Let's just see. So I download it. There it is. I run it. Oh, it's a tiny little thing. There's my tiny little square right here because it's only that big. Let's say I make it 40 and 80. And these are, if I go back to my question mark, this is where I'm using not the columns and rows, but the pixels. So I have 480 pixels and 240. So instead I can go here. I can go 300 and 200, and let's see what happens. Download it. It's way down there, too far down. So I went too far, so I'm going to go 240. And you can see how fast, as long as it's plugged in, you just leave it plugged in, and how fast it runs. So, oh, this was this one here. I need to go like 85. Why not? Okay, so different things here to, now it moved it that way. So these are all things you can do. Now let's say, that's the row. I moved it over. I don't know. Let's see what happens. So if I had more, so now it's there. Now let's say I want to fill it in. Well, here I can, there's a fill color, red. So if I put it up here, that'll fill things in red, so let's see what that looks like. Oh, but it put red where my text is. So it does things in order, just like a flowchart. So if I take this out and I put it down below the hello everyone and download it, now that's not highlighted. Okay, so that's some of this stuff going there. If there's something you don't want anymore, you can drag it off and it'll go away. Okay? There are a lot of things you're going to do. Those are the basic things with the screen, which is what we're going to work with for the next few days. But there's a lot of other things here. So when brain screen pressed, so you can do that too. And that was up, there's places where when it is pressed, because it is a touch sensitive screen, you can do, like right here, screen pressed. So I can do, check this out. If I put my screen, and this is way more than we normally would be doing, but now it's going to sit there, and so watch what happens. So now if I download it and run it, there's nothing there until I press the screen. Oh, did I restart it? Oh, now you see it didn't work because it runs through the program and ends. I should know that. But if I do this, if I go back down here, and I'm just throwing a bunch of stuff at you here, I can put it on remember we talked about repeats and forevers? Okay, if I can put a forever here, and now it's just going to sit there and go around and around and around and around and wait for it. So now if I do this and run it, now when I press it, it does it. Okay, I lost my color, but that's, now it only does it, there's nothing else for it to do. It's just cycling through this, but you can see some of the things that it can do. This if, that's a decision. So if yes, do this. If no, it just keeps going. But then later on we have if else's. So this would be, in here would be my yes, in here would be my no. All kinds of different things here. You can do math. So if something is greater than or less than, I can make variables. I can do unknown. So there's all kinds of things we're going to be doing as we go along. So that's the main thing on how to set up your device, how to find out what everything does. So I can, that's just a wait. But this does all of that. Download, run. This will get you started, okay? Kind of an intro to Vex V5.